All right, it's been a couple of days, and I've seen this intro a couple of times now. But every time I see it, I'm like, "Yep, that is awesome! I love that
I was
intro."
just about to say, nice new intro you guys have there. Awesome.
Yeah,
Nice, nice.
it's pretty good. We got Dirk in the house as well. Dirk. I was gonna ask you something, but then I looked at Twitter, and now my mind is just completely blank.
Okay.
That's what happens when you have multiple screens and you're trying to multitask when having a live stream. It's like, yeah. No, but welcome, Dirk. It's been. I was gonna say it's been a while, but not really. You've been
I think 2
on here.
weeks ago.
Yeah. Two
Yeah.
weeks.
Thanks for having me again. And congratulations. I think you hit a milestone in subscribers, if I'm not mistaken.
We did. We hit 40K. So tomorrow
Nice.
we're going to do a 40K subscribers celebration stream. Look at this trade right here. GBP CAD. This is a picture perfect break and retest. Enter this trade in the, we had a stream on Trade Delicious this morning. Oh, looks like we are also getting an alert on EU, which means EU is moving higher. So I'm going to be moving my stops up on EU. So I posted. We have a WhatsApp chat in the trading room with the with the 5ers team, and I posted this a couple of hours ago before the live stream. I posted screenshots of 5 positions being open at the same time in MetaTrader, and it's like I post like, what am I doing? Why am I 5 trades open at the same time? That's not something I should be doing. But guess what? I did see a lot of setups. I entered them, and it's looking very, very good. The GBP CAD went to TP in only about 3 or 4 hours here. So a very quick trade. Now, yes, I did have a very, very wide stop loss. Could have gotten a bigger risk to reward on this one. But again, like, I'm trading differently than I'm doing now. I also remember, breaking this trade down, and I said, maybe I should have had my entry down here. But you know what? Like, I saw this level with the 50. I'm just going to enter right when I hit that level. And that seems to have been the right decision. Another position I'm in is NCD JPY. This one right here. I'm waiting for this to potentially hit that TP. So now
you are on fire. You're on fire,
yes,
Jonathan.
Yes, NCD JPY has had an alert and it says stops up. So what I'm going to do now is I will move my stops here. So what this does is it limits loss on this trade significantly, because down here, this is 1 R, which means that this is like 0.3 R or something like that. So I'll be moving my stop loss up on NCD JPY. I'll also be moving my stops up on Euro USD, probably to that level, maybe even here. So both of these, EU and NCD JPY, if both of them hit TP, it's going to be 1 R loser, So trying to manage my risk that way. And it's important because I do have 2 positions that are in drawdown that very likely might hit my stop loss. And if that happens, even with all of these trades hitting TP, I'm not sure I'll be in profit, because I'm using a negative risk to reward. So it's important to really limit my losses on the trades that are actually going in my favor. So looking at silver, I have a long here on silver based on just the fact that we're looking at the higher time frames. What's happening here is we're retesting this area here, like the previous. This is a massive, support area. We're breaking through. This is a weekly break and retest in an area where you also had 50%. And on the daily, I see a double bottom. And what I based this trade on was just the fact that we reclaimed the 50% after having a daily. Yes, it's not really technically double bottom, but I do view this as a double bottom on high time frame support. So the whole idea with this trade was for me to get a move like this, take out the the highs of this local range, or to just test the local range. So it's a combination of a high time frame break and retest. We got a weekly break and retest, daily W, and a 4-hour trend within a range. So it's a break and retest of the range EQ, potential up to range highs. I got my stop loss all the way down below the range low. So there's a lot of room for error here. Can move around quite a lot. I just need a small push the upside to take this into profit. Another trade I'm in, NCD CHF, looking all right, but I am now looking for an exit, and confirmation of exit would be if we move up here and then fail to hold this level and we move lower. That's where I'm going to take the loss on this trade for half an hour. And by closing some of the trades earlier in drawdown, it helps the system overall to be profitable. Trader Dev asked the risk to reward. If we look at the risk to reward on these trades, this one is 0.56, NCD JPY is 0.57, GB CAD is 0.53, NCD 0.53, and gold is 0.52. So they're all negative risk to reward, which means that need to have a very high win rate to be profitable. But that's what I have right now. For the last 3-4 weeks, I've got about above 70% win rate, which puts me in profit. Not a lot. I think I'm 3R could be higher, but we'll see.
What is also important is not only
so many
maybe it's the summer
targets getting hit. Yeah, no, it's not. I think you know what, the summer is completely trash in Sweden now. Like for the next 3 weeks, we're just gonna have bad weather. And I've just got a delivery for one of those standing paddle thingies that you stand on and paddle. Got one of those really nice.
More motivation to not fall into the water when you try it out, then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a good way to look at it. All right, let's see. Do we have any? Are you guys watching anything? I think we have a lot of news this week and a lot of things going on, so we need to be careful.
Yeah, we have starting today, I think at 4 p.m. CT with Joel's job opening, which will give us an indication on what is going to happen on Friday when the NFP are coming out. So I expect a little bit of choppiness in the market. I'm looking right now actually at EU a bit, but I can still see it going to the upside, but I think at around 107.40 to 107.50, we have a lot of area of confluence. I think it's going to have a hard time without the backup of
Dirk, I'm just gonna share your screen here. So I'm just gonna add
Sure.
your screen. You can take a look at it. And while you do that, I'm just gonna go grab some coffee. I'll be right back.
Do that. Let's quickly look here. What are we expecting today? So first of all, we have at 3:30 Powell is having a speech today. That's weird. Normally it's always in the evening, but be it. So this is of course something the market is eyeing. Why? Because there is still the hope, of course, that end of July we are going to see an interest rate cut. Probability at the moment is that we do not see it. So 91.2% of market participants at the moment are believing that we are not going to see an interest rate cut end of July. However, if we fast forward here to mid of September, things are looking different. Here, 61% currently expecting a rate cut by 0.25%. And as always in the past month, this is going to be highly dependent on what the job market has done. We saw inflation coming down, obviously, but we are still seeing a strong job market. And this is something the Fed doesn't like, because a strong job market means people are in jobs, they have money to spend, which potentially in a consumer-driven economy like the United States could mean that inflation comes back or is more sticky than, well, by the end of a day we all like. So this one today at 4 p.m. CT is going to be important. Joel's job opening forecast 7.91 million US dollars. More important, but from the Joel's today, we are going to get an indication already for that. Of course, on Friday, the non-farm payrolls. Markets could be a little bit choppy. as I just said, for me in today's session, without seeing much worse job openings number than expected, I think we are going to have a hard time to overcome this area in euro dollar here. We have a previous week high there. We have the monthly open, which of course also the quarterly open and the weekly open. We have the daily open up there. And if we go further to search for more confluence levels there, we can actually zoom out a little bit more. Give me a minute. Let's take this one here, for example, draw some FIB levels here from the recent high to the last low. And we can see here also that we have the 38.2 FIB level also up there. So for me, potentially, if we see the numbers today in line with that, I would prefer actually up here a short somewhere in the area 107.40, 107.50 somewhat. We can have here a look at the long-term picture also in euro dollar, which I'm always using for my option positioning. And there we can also see we are a little bit squeezed in on the bottom here around 106.80, 107. We have a pretty solid foundation. This is where we made the turnaround here the last time. Contrary, which is also something I've been saying for months now, the air gets extremely thin as soon as we are over 109. But things doesn't mean right now that we're in a risk-off markets. I mean, the stock market's still performing good. Bitcoin, of course, went a little bit down, but made also a nice turnaround exactly at the bull market support bands. Again, this is such a nice indicator really for the bull market. And I think we need to be a little bit patient there to see where things are running. I wouldn't front run the news, honestly speaking, at the moment, except, of course, if you want to go down to the 1-minute chart and trade something like a bounce of the 21 or 50 minutes moving average. That could be a potential trade. Not one I'm preferring vote for today, honestly speaking.
Nice. So actually what we should be looking for is the numbers today on the jolt, you said, right? Because that's going to give us some insights on the jobs situation on the US, which will give an indication of what the Fed is probably going to be doing. And of course, Friday, this is only for today. Friday, these two numbers should give us a better understanding, right? A better probability. Yep. What are the odds of the Fed acting or not acting yet?
Yeah, what we need to see actually in favor of rate cuts would be worse number than expected, which always, for a beginner is a little bit like it doesn't make sense. Why do you want worse numbers? It means the economy is not doing so well. Well, in this setting, it means that inflation probably is coming down further because there can be less consumed, which gives the Fed the motives to cut interest rates. I actually believe that, I said that always last year, Jonathan maybe remembers that the Fed would cut already in May the interest rates, but seems to be a little bit later now because inflation was more sticky than I expected. I thought we would be well below 3% already by now.
So on the backdrop of the Feds watching these numbers today and Friday, that makes these numbers extra important, right? For us as traders, they're probably going to be moving more than average, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we have seen, I remember our past sessions, 2 weeks, and especially the one, I think it was 4 weeks ago, where we also had like economic data coming out. And actually all of us, we said it's not that important. But we saw huge reactions there in euro dollar. And now imagine this like leveraged by the importance of the news coming out, be it today at 4 p.m., which is not going to be eyed that much. For me, still, it gives an indication of what the number Friday is probably going to be. So yeah, you want to be extra careful there with your positioning. High chance that you are stopped out. If you have a stop loss because of the up and down volatility, the choppiness of a market. I don't have an opinion this time on the news, honestly speaking. So I'm going to wait by the sidelines. Let's see, maybe later at 4, I'm going to play my ATR strategy there and see if I can find some entries either on the upper ATR or the lower ATR can be S&P 500. Preferred would be, of course, euro dollar because we have a nice spreads there on the 5ers accounts. Or you could also trade that on Bitcoin. It's all going to move in the same direction probably.
I see. And Powell speaking 30 minutes before that jolt number. What does that change? How does that change the possibilities or the volatility, do you think?
I'm a bit surprised because that he's speaking so early. Normally, he's always like at 7 or 8 p.m. CET speaking. So I don't know what that means. But of course, like people are going to hang by his words again and try to interpret it, whether he gives an indication of where the interest rate strategy of the Fed is going to be the next month. But he's probably going to say the same he said for the last month. We are prepared to lower interest rate when the job market signals us as the last indicator to do so. Inflation is still sticky. It's not where we want it because the Fed wants the inflation obviously at 2% and not at 3.2%, I think last time.
Nice. By the way, guys, GU is moving very much in anticipation, I suppose, to these numbers or these events coming up. Let's see.
I think I'm just looking for
EU as well, so it's probably a dollar move.
Yeah,
it's risk on move. We are seeing.
So I got definitely. I got my TP up here. I'm just looking for reasons to take profit earlier on this move.
I like that. I'm looking for reasons to take profit. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna move. So I will be moving my stop loss up to that low, right there. So now you can see I'm risking 528, and my TP would be 800 or 792. Okay, so that's the Euro USD trade. And then I had another trade, which was NCD JPY. I was going to move stop loss on this one as well. So now for this one, I get stop loss all the way down here. So I will be moving my stops right here for that one. And I think that's it. Now, the problem here is I'm going to have to go over to trading view. Now, I need to also ask myself, what happens if everything
goes badly?
Yeah. What happens if just EU just completely dumps here and takes out the stop loss, and then same with NCD JPY? So I would be losing, let's say, half an hour. It's going to be less, but let's say half an hour on that one and then half an hour on this one. So let's say 1 hour loss on that one. And it's only half an hour win on this one. But at least it's going to be like, that's good though, because I can limit losses on 2 trades.
We're currently at the pivot point on GU, so we might see price bouncing a little bit, so retracing a little bit from this point on. We had some good run on the 5-minute. If you look at it, it's been very strong, that movement, and we just touched by, maybe missed it by a few pipettes, the pivot point of today. So that's typically a place where traders would like to reassess situation. Perhaps they react to it a little bit, retraces, then continues or not. Dirk, I got a question for you. I see on Oanda, the price feed on Oanda for Bitcoin, there is the gap of the weekend gap, and of course we had a weekend gap on many pairs, EU, etc. How would you say, is it more often or less often that BTC gaps on weekends compared to other Forex pairs?
Well, the question is, where do they still trade Bitcoin on the weekend or under? I mean, because it's traded normally 365 days, 24/7, no? A year Bitcoin.
Oh, that's the reason it's gapping. So there's no gap.
Yeah, probably.
Here.
I don't know if they close it maybe on Friday night together with the other stuff and then reopen it. Apart from that, nothing against Oanda, but I think the spread is also insane there.
The spread is
something like $50 or $100 or even $150. So basically, don't just trade it there. And for analysis, I would always, if you look at the daily, I like on TradingView the one by TradingView itself, the all-time history index of Bitcoin. And
Right, that's
if I
right.
go more into the lower time frames, I usually use the perpetual contract either by Bybit or by Binance, because those are the most liquid ones.
Yeah.
And there you won't have the gaps normally. Actually, it's impossible to have a gap. Maybe during
Yeah.
a news event or whatever, but still you would see that reflected in a candle and not with a gap.
Nice.
Why do you? I feel like why I have such an urge just closing EU here.
Will you
'Cause
be holding? Will you be holding through the news? Maybe that's the question.
No. So when isn't the news in 1 hour?
No. Yes, yeah. The news is in. Well, the chairman will be speaking in 1 hour and 10 minutes, and 1 hour and a half we have the job openings, the jolts. So both of them could potentially move the market.
But I think actually the speech of Paul is not that important, because I see it's a panel discussion at the European Central Bank where he's a guest speaker today.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why
Well, actually, I did. Yeah,
the
but I
timing is
did.
different.
Yeah, but I did. Like they can have quite big effect. I saw when he
Of
wa-
course,
he was.
but he's probably not going to focus solely like on what is America doing in terms of interest rate strategy.
No, maybe not. But
would
he did
suppose so.
have he did have an interview in like in Amsterdam last month on like similar settings as this one, and that really did move the markets. But what I am a bit worried about is this level that Victor talked about, and also what's the move? What is this move all about? I have to see if we have anything. I don't understand where all of this volatility comes from right now, because I can't really see anything going on.
Well, I can explain. Technically, it makes a lot of sense to me. I didn't catch any entries because there were no signals to me. But let me put my chart on. This is the move we're talking about. We are currently on the fourth hour of consecutive movement, right? It's been very clearly that the buyers are in control, and that's completely different than all we've had after the news yesterday, since the news yesterday. But in terms of the market structure, it makes a lot of sense, because if you the way I see it is, we did have, actually, on the H4, we did have a, this is what I have. Let's see, we have in terms of market structure, we have that quasi formed. That was the head, the break of that neckline, and we come back to retest structures in here. And that is very typical. When price comes back to touch those last lines of defense, it will have, either it will break through right away, or it will have a reaction as we have seen right now, which is violent, or because if it rejects these structures, it is obvious to a lot of people, a lot of traders and participants, that okay, we're back into the other mode, right? Buying mode. And this is very typical. It rejects and moves away quickly from those structures. So in terms of technicals, it makes a lot of sense. Actually, I was waiting in the and I shared this in the WhatsApp group you just mentioned, Jonathan, where these were my areas that I was looking on the lower time frames to catch an entry. Eventually I did not get to catch any entries, because sometimes the market, the way I trade, it doesn't catch all the moves in the market. But I was looking to look for a reversal pattern in these areas, and it did happen. So to me, I'm not all that surprised that this happened. The only thing is, it didn't offer me the opportunity to tag along with the move. So that's okay. I know that I'm not going to catch everything, and it's just part of it. But just hope that I'm aware to catching those that I am able to catch. And that's the same thing with EU, albeit a little less clear. This is the area we discussed yesterday. That's the H4 possible entry. that we came into, and this is the area, right? That's the H4. In here, it did not get into my refined area. So that's why I did not enter any trades. I could not find any. This is the area that I'm looking for, a refinement of that order block, and it missed it by, or it came close to it, but missed it by about, I don't know, a pip or so. And maybe that's it, and it's going to keep on moving up, and I'm not going to be part of it. Or this is going to retest the same structure at a later time today. Maybe with the news, it will have some kind of a spike down, and that could be my entry. Not
Okay,
at the spike of the news, but
yeah, could you so
yep.
with looking at EU, where's your resistance? Because I think I feel like my bias of being in this trade is making me stay in while I probably should exit, because I feel like on a lower time frames we are hitting, feels like we're hitting the level where I probably should have taken profits.
Right, so we got this quasi. It broke. Technically, the neckline was already lower, but if you had the neckline where the obvious place, which was the swing high, this swing high, it doesn't matter. It broke that structure anyways. And what I would do is not buy as it breaks that structure, which would be a breakout trade. What I would do is wait for it to come back to some structure that makes sense. And we had two structures, and it hit the first one, and that reaction we saw on GU and here on EU makes complete sense. Price comes back, retraces into some demand area, and that's where it could potentially make its continuation up. That is, of course, before the news comes out. So news can come out and change this completely. And you're asking me what area do I have as resistance? Well, I don't have anything. We have the H4 that we formed after the news yesterday. That is an area that it needs to break. That's going to be my FTA if I were in this if I was in this trade. That's an area, but I would have my TP at the end of it, right at the top of it, especially if the ATR allows me to put it there. And since we have news today, it is quite nice. It is quite possible that it reaches it. I will have to measure how much the range would be if this would be the low of the day, and it gives me about 67, which is a bit higher than 100%. So I'll take it before that. I'll take my words back. I would have my TP within this area, depending on other factors through the day. But before the news is tricky. If I had a signal, I would get in and decide to exit before the news if it hasn't moved away quickly from my area. But if it is, let's say it's halfway through, I will leave it open and take the risk. But what I mentioned was that maybe I will get an entry once the news comes out, and it may, as we all know, it may spike, come down, trick us thinking it's going to go down, maybe leave some wicks, maybe even wicking this structure, and then continue to go up. That will be perfect for me if I can get an entry in there. If it happens, I'm not afraid to take it like right after the news, a couple of minutes after that, or 15 minutes like after that, because I have the news behind me, and I know this can be a driver for the rest of the day. But that's so I had both EU and GU lining up, but none of them offered me an entry, at least not yet.
All right, so you're looking for a bit higher targets. You're looking for a bit higher targets based on like 4 hour structures.
Well, not really. Actually, this is the structure that I have. We did have a daily, but that was on the lower time frames. Price had no issue going much higher than that. So I don't think this structure, on even if it's on the daily, which is a higher in the hierarchy of time frames, it's a higher time frame, more important. But the fact that the price previously didn't have an issue going beyond it, I think it's less relevant right now. It was relevant before, but not anymore. So this shouldn't be an issue for price. So this is the only structure I see on the higher time frames, which is more relevant to you. I would say, if I'm day trading, I would look to exit my position in that structure, somewhere in there. Maybe I'll go to the 1 minute and see if I can refine that structure a bit more. And if I can't, I would just put my TP somewhere along the first lower border of that structure, because
Yeah.
it means that I don't know how far deep it will interact with that order block, and I don't want to miss the exit. I just want to take out the first time it reaches it, and I'm gonna be out.
Yeah, and I think for my TP, that would be the daily order block that you had, right? So that would be like right below that, the level that you marked out.
You mean the one
Yeah, exactly, that
this
one.
one?
So somewhere, yeah. So the very probably like the very bottom of that one would be my TP.
So around 7:39. It is also
Yeah.
the bottom of the bigger time order block on the daily, right? We have two of them. I don't like this bigger one because it doesn't help me. It's so wide, it doesn't give me any information. Like, this is way too wide, but I know it is there. So if I have multiple order blocks lining up in here, then I can use that bigger one as the background or an added confluence. But other than that, it's too wide. It's not useful. This, however, is the one that I was mentioning. But both of them, their lower border is very close to each other. They're basically, I believe this is your TP. Then that would be your TP,
Yeah.
which I think is a great place, by the way, because that is to me, if you look on the higher time frame, that is that's the FTA on the higher time frame. It's this order block, even though it was yesterday, price was able to wick it and violate it by quite some pips. It in the end, it wasn't invalidated, so it's still valid. It will still have some kind of reaction in the market. So if you don't want to, you want to be getting out at that first exit possible, and not try your luck and pushing and risking missing it, and the market turns around and you're still in the trade.
What level is that exactly? Around 107.40, or what are we talking about here?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
740.
Yeah. So it's basically also the daily opening. I think that's a great target too, because the higher you go, if you look at the 1 hour time frame, there are so many areas of confluence that point at a resistance. So this is exactly where I would be getting out as well if I would have been in this trade.
My silver truth.
Okay.
I think
Nice.
right now, what I've actually taken some profits. I've taken profits on EU on my main account. I'm letting it run on a couple of other accounts where I'm like, I don't really care about it. But my main account, I've taken profits on EU because honestly, like, I'm in 3 positions right now. They're all looking pretty good. I was in 5 positions this morning and took 1 more trade. It's like 6 trades today, which is just way too much. And I feel like I'm getting lucky because I haven't had a single loser today. So every trade has just been winners, and I've taken more trades than I should be taking in a whole week only today. So I feel like I've gotten lucky, and now EU is just moving higher and higher, and it's like, yeah, okay, I need to take what the market is giving me now. I need to stop this and not give it back. So now I'm actually, silver is actually, it's actually moving quite nicely finally. So we are having that reaction, yeah, sorry about that.
Before we go to silver, I want to add something. It may not be relevant for today, but perhaps this week, because we have a lot of, this is a news laden new week. So if we can look to the left from the local high, I suppose that this will be the structure to be that will probably stop price for today, right? Unless there is some major surprise and it shoots up, and that structure will not stop it. But if during the week, this after this structure, we don't have a lot in terms of structures to the left, all the way to the 800s. So that's something to think about in your risk management. If you're going to have your TP should be either related to this structure, and if they're not, then you're better off just putting your TP all the way much higher, and not like right after it, because why would you, if you have your TP in terms of strategic TP placement, why would you have your TP right after that resistance? Because you're going to be absorbing the risk of price not being able to go through that structure, that supply zone. If you're going to have your TP above that structure, you might as well have it at the next stop, because if you're going to be absorbing that
Yeah.
risk, you want to get the benefit, which is if it breaks this, it's probably going to be ending up going to the next station, which is much higher, which is about 23 pips. But if you take that's the open space, which is about what, 30%, a little bit more than 30% of the EU D1 ATR. So that's something I think is relevant. There's nothing to the left. There's not a lot above this structure to stop price. If it breaks, it's probably going to continue going for a swing trader. That would be. You wanted to
Yeah.
show something on silver?
Yes. So we're now seeing, so the 4 hours closing in about 21 minutes, and we're seeing exactly the type of reaction that I wanted to see here. We zoom in, you can see, so again, for those of you joining here and didn't see the whole analysis on silver, if we look at the weekly, so this is obviously the higher time frames right here. This is the weekly. I've added a level. Now, when I add my levels, I don't really care if they're perfect. I just want something to look fairly decent. But if we can try to make this smaller and as small as possible, while still incorporating as much of price action as possible, it would look like this. So that's a weekly level, right? And you see that we had a weekly breakout, a clean weekly breakout with one candle going through the level, and then we have one test right here of that level. So we get a weekly break and retest. That break and retest is also a daily double bottom. And then if we go into the 4 hour, we have a local range right here where you're and then within this local range, you have an uptrend on the 4 hour that looks like this. And that is the break and retest of range EQ that I'm looking to trade up to the range highs. And right now it's playing out very, very nicely. And, I feel like, I do get scenarios like this from time to time when I find myself in way more positions than I normally do. And it usually, either it works out, either it's very profitable, or it's not profitable. Stop loss is getting hit. But I do see that most of the time it happens when the market is very volatile, when you're having moves where, like today, all of a sudden, I don't know why this happened, but all of a sudden it just shoots straight up. I get an entry, it just shoots straight up, have an entry in EU, and then silver shows something, and everything just starts moving for some reason. And maybe that's when we just have to follow whatever the market is doing. There's going to be a situation when there's volatility, there's setups forming. So I think for me, when I started trading, I had a rule that says I'm not going to take any more than 2 trades a day. If I take more than 2 trades a day, I'm over trading. But now I've come to the part of my trading journey where I'm basically just taking every setup that aligns with the plan. And if that's 5 trades a day or 5 trades a week, that it doesn't really matter. But it does feel weird after years of trading just few trades per day to be in a lot of positions. But I think it's all about following whatever the market is doing.
But I mean, in a situation like this, I don't know exactly what positions you have now open. I know you mentioned EU, of course. You have pound,
Silver.
dollar also open something, cable?
No, nothing
Okay.
on. I only have silver and then New Zealand dollar and EU.
Because a lot of those usually also point in the same direction. So what I usually do if I get like a bunch of signals at the same time, and I normally would have to enter like 5 or sometimes 10 trades, and I have signals, for example, in silver, in which I don't trade very often, by the way, in EU and in GU, and they all point into the same direction, then I'm just going to take one of those trades. Because the likelihood, if that trade fails, is that the other trades will fail as well, because probably it's going to be, in this case of a long trade, of course, US dollar weakness. So I'm going to be very picky and just take the setup of those 3, for examples, that look the best and not all of the trades. I might be taking it with a little bit of more position than I usually would do. But I always become a little bit spooked out when I get too many signals that point into the same direction, especially if we are trading before news.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem here, because like I said, sometimes I'll take 5 trades and everything moves nicely, and the other other time I'll see most of them hit stop loss. So I do agree with you when you have something like I'm going long silver and I'm going long EU. Like that's the same trade most of the time. So I do try to also adjust the risk between them, and I feel like I didn't do this properly this time, and maybe that's why I feel like I got a bit stressed, because it's complicated.
I mean, at the other hand, I understand you, because like you said, if you get the signals, you gotta be in the market. So by the end of the day, it also doesn't matter then how you split your trades. No, you have to be there then. And but I know what you mean if you are somebody like me, and I think we are very alike there, who is very picky about trade setups, who doesn't like to trade a lot when it comes to swing trading. It kind of freaks you out when suddenly you have like 5, 10, 15 signals at the same time, and like do in one day the amount of positionings that usually would do in a whole week or maybe even 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Well, what I can say is when in the past where I was trading 28 pairs instead of 2, I would have that my portfolio will be the correlation between the trades, the pairs that I trade will be quite high, and that's a problem, because that makes my drawdowns deeper. And of course your winners will be higher as well, because you, as you said, you're going to be winning at the same time in different pairs, but that's amplification of the risk, and the upside is not a problem, it's the downside that the problem is. So I don't have, the thing is, you need some data to see what the typical drawdown is in your portfolio, or when you have more trades open at the same time, and to see if what's happening right now is a deviation from the norm, from the average, which if it is, then you need to perhaps be more careful. The fluctuation, when they start fluctuating intra-trade, right? If you're going, let's say you're floating, normally you never float more than 2 or 3 hours, and right now you're floating 5, something is different, and that could be a sign while you're still in the trade that the volatility in my floating position is way higher than normal. That should be a sign that if that is possible, that means also that my drawdown could be way higher than normal, and that's something you want to be avoiding. I don't have that issue anymore, since I only trade EU and GU, and of course they are very correlated, and I've measured that I can take both of them at the same time, and it's okay. I can handle that extra risk, that extra correlation. But what I don't like when I was what I never liked when I was trading a lot of trades pairs at the same time, that usually they're not so correlated unless there is a major event in dollar. When you see major event in dollar, most pairs go one way, And if you are, if your correlation on the dollar is high between those pairs, you're going to have all of them hitting stop loss or going in drawdown at the same time. And that's going to hurt. That's going to sting, because it's, it's, you get all of it as an avalanche at once. And that's something I never liked a lot. Another reason why I stopped doing it, but simply that's something I remember that I will never forget.
Yeah, it is really. You always have to learn that the hard way. Was the same for me. Actually,
Yes.
when it comes to like correlation, I think on Forex, if I remember correctly, because the data I'm remembering there's a couple of years old, the least correlated pairs are that still have decent liquidity. That is, are euro dollar and pound sterling versus Japanese yen. So if you want to trade like two pairs that don't move always the same, or in the opposite direction, these are maybe the two to have a look at.
Nice.
We are seeing some very strong risk on moves today. That's for sure.
Are you still in the trade?
No, I'm in. I've started taking profits on most positions. I'm now looking for exits on NCD JPY and NCD CHF. Like NCD CHF is having a really good move right here, but my entry is all the way up here. So I'm looking to get out of this close to break even, while possibly NCD JPY hitting TP. So if NCD JPY hits TP, I'm hoping to get out of NCD JPY and NCD CHF around break even. If I can get out a profit on this one, it's going to be 5 trades today and five winners, that's going to be amazing.
Wow, nice.
That would be
I
awesome,
have a question. I have a question for you, Jonathan. When you have signals, typically, do they come at the same time, or are they distributed along the day, during the day?
It's distributed throughout the day.
Okay, because if that's a complication, I think, because if you say, okay, we're going to have.
Hi, mate.
Well, hello, Alex. Welcome.
I'm
destroyer of layouts.
The whole layout. Absolutely. I don't honestly. I'm trying to put 4 of us on, and now where's Victor gone? Hey, Dirk, how you doing? Right?
Good. How are you?
No, maybe
hey,
no.
Yeah. No? Actually, no. I'll do a new layout. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. That's one. That's the one.
I told you longer euro.
See if you can get 2 people on each side, perhaps. Yeah, long euro. Dude, I
told you.
Yeah, dude. Look at that. Do you remember this one? I showed you in the stream. Tredelicious.
Let me have a look. Because I'm doing the layout. Give me 2 secs.
Okay. I went long. I went long on this one right before we ended the live stream. You're probably not seeing.
No.
Mind.
2 secs.
Well, that's too bad.
Dirk, you're not in your normal place.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm in my hometown right now. Ooh. No. I'm visiting my mom, who had a bit of an accident, so I have to take some care of, grocery shopping and getting her back on her feet.
Fair enough. I wish her a speedy recovery.
Oh, thank you. She will. She's a very tough lady.
Tough one. Yeah, my grandma's a little bit like that, to be fair. Old school. But, yeah.
Not wimpy whiners like we are.
No, I'm a snowflake. That's what we are. Okay, let's do this like that. Okay.
All right, so I'm hoping. Man, I ain't getting. I'm getting a bit nervous. Like it's been today's been too good. Been too good.
No, what I was going to say, Jonathan, was if your trades are distributed, your signals are distributed. By the way, pound is moving very nicely. We had a 1 minute 1 minute bar.
Oh, look at that breakout! Yeah. Wow,
that's the breakout of pivot point. that's
Pound
the
sterling
breakout
always
of the...
likes to front run EU. Yeah, it's crazy.
There you go.
Nice. There we go.
Nice, nice.
And there's
We
no
gotta
music.
we gotta save
Let me-
that. Is
let me-
the layout saved?
The layout is saved. It is indeed, and
Okay.
we're just gonna put some. Guys, where's the music? I can't believe I come in here and it's just like, where's the relaxing music? You haven't showed Dirk our new track. Look at that, Dirk. What do you think? Very, very relaxing.
Nice.
We're making money. We're chilling.
As
wow.
I was
That was
saying, Jonathan, if your signal come in at different times of the day throughout the day, it's a bit difficult if you, let's say, because you don't know in advance how many signals you will have. So how do you divide your risk? That's a complication, because you could say, if you have at the same time, you could say, well, I'm going to be taking, if you have 3 signals, I'm going to be putting 1/3 of the risk on each one of them, right? And you're still playing all 3, but just with an adjusted risk. But if they come throughout the day, that's a complication, because you don't know how many you will have and how to adjust that. Right at the first, the first signal comes out, you don't know how many there will come, so you take it full risk perhaps. And at the second one, well, you already have full risk. You don't want to have disparity in risk between the pairs, right? You want them to be all normalized. So I think it's a conundrum. It's a tricky issue.
Yeah, I don't really understand the question. I'm sorry, Victor.
It doesn't matter. If I'm
going to be honest with you, If I'm going to be honest with you, I was just trying to work in the layout, and I thought you were kind of like talking to someone else, and then I saw Alex is doing something else, and Dirk is not here, and I'm like, he must be talking to me.
I was still listening though.
Yeah.
Maybe
if I
maybe
understood
you have
correctly, Victor, I think
Yes.
you mean like if all the signals don't come at the same time, you're going to take your usual risk on each individual trade, and then you actually end up with, let's say, 4 or 5 times of your usual risk, because the trades are all into the same direction, correct?
That is correct. And the
okay,
question is, how do you deal with that? Because you could also say, well, that's a too much accumulated risk on one day or on one period. You don't want to have 5, 6 trades on, because maybe that's something that's way outlier on your typical day. And you say, okay, I want to normalize my risk distribution during the day as well, during the week. I don't want to have all of my risk on one day and the other days 1 hour. And I understand that will help you normalize the fluctuations in your equity curve. But how do you do that if it comes out 1 signal at a time, because you don't know how many there will be in advance? And if so, how do you manage that? And if you say, okay, I have 5 setups, but only 2 trigger, then you're under risking. So that's not going to be optimal
that's a great
either.
point. Yeah, that's a great point. So usually what I do is, if I see, for example, if I see that, if I see, for example, that I have 2 long positions triggering at the same time, and it's part of the same move, and I see that I'm going to be entering those, at the same time, I will have to either choose one or split risk up between them. So let's say, for example, if I get a signal on a correlated pair, I'm usually just going to take both and then split risk. But if I get a setup on, let's say, for example, a long setup on EU, and at the same time a long setup on AUD JPY, I will have to either decide to take one of them or split risk up between them. But if I get a long setup on EU in the morning, and then in the evening I get something on AUD JPY, well, chances are that I will be able to limit risk on the EU trade. So let's say, for example, that the EU trade is getting close to TP. Well, I can close that one for profit and enter the AUD JPY long. And if it's a short on AUD JPY, I'll just look at it as sort of a hedge while taking some profits on EU. So It's not really a huge problem because I'm not supposed to be in a lot of position at the same time. So it's never really a huge problem. And the amount of signals that I'm getting, it's I'm not getting a lot of signals, It's just today was just usually if it's a volatile week, usually most of my setups come on a Tuesday because we have a move on Monday, and that's usually a fake move, right? And the real move comes on Tuesday. So I'll enter on Tuesday, and a lot of times I'll enter trades on Tuesday, and I'll let them run for the whole week. So I think Tuesday and Wednesday is my most active days, and I don't really enter a lot of trades on Thursdays or Fridays.
I see.
And if I'm, if I take 2 trades on Tuesday, if I take 2 swing trades on a Tuesday, and they look good and they're following the plan of the week, I'm happy to stay in those and be very, selective on rest of my trades coming in.
So you basically you're floating, or your recent profit affects your risk management going forward for the rest of the week or for the coming sessions. Is that correct?
Yeah. Not profits, but like setups, I guess.
Okay.
Recent setups, or the fact that if I'm in a trade, like I want to be in a position. Like I get super stressed when I'm not in the trade, which is not a good thing, I know, but like I want to be in a position. So if I'm in a swing trade and I feel like I can be in this trade for 2 days, I know I get a calm feeling knowing that I'm in this trade and I'm gonna let it run for maybe a couple of days and see how it goes. The problem is when I'm not in any trades and I really feel like I need to be in a trade, and I stop making mistakes based on that.
But why do you feel you need to be in a trade? Do you think you're missing out on movements?
No, it's not FOMO. It's just that I pull up MetaTrader and there's just nothing there. It's just nothing happening. Like I want to see numbers go up and down. I want to see that red and blue. Like something needs to happen.
Okay, so you need feedback from the terminal that something is active.
Yeah, I think probably some dopamine thing. I need that rush. I need that.
DAX.
Yeah.
Has anybody looked at the DAX recently? It actually looks like it's going to come down further, doesn't it? It's already come down a lot today, but I don't think, obviously, getting into any kind of position right now is probably the worst thing to do because you're probably at the low of the day. But I feel like it's got more room.
Don't trade it when the US markets are going to open soon, because it's just going to copy then what the S&P 500 is doing. You can trade DAX always from the German main stock index.
That's the 40, right?
Yeah, exactly. DAX 40. You can trade it from like 9 a.m. when it opens until latest 2 p.m. And then I would refrain from trading it because it really just becomes a derivative of the S&P 500.
Oh, I gotta show you something, guys. Check out my screen here. So I love this. Okay, so I just got I'm in this trade, right? And this doesn't really happen very often, but it's one of the best confirmations that I can think of. So if you remove the drawings of this right here, remember what this looks like. Remember where I had my entry and everything, right? So we're gonna hide this. Nothing happened. So let's do that again. Hide that one. And I just had an alert from the indicator. Now let's see what happens when I put this on right here. But error alert is gonna change that. So I don't really use this a lot often, but when I do get this confluent, it's usually very good looking. So I'm just gonna wait for it to load up here. Look at that. Look at that long signal. That is just absolutely beautiful. And then stop loss right down here. So what we have here is, and I didn't even have the EMAs on the chart here. But if I remove that one and then add the drawings back on, you'll see that it's the same setup, but it's tighter stop loss and everything. And if we add the EMAs, this is a picture perfect example of a swing, of a good looking swing setup where you have you're breaking retest of this horizontal level. It also hit the 20 EMA, and if you look at the stochastic RSI, it's also bull cross right here on the stochastic RSI on the 4 hours. So everything aligns here. Now, this obviously makes me feel that I should be raising my TP, because now this is Alex is shaking his head, and I yes, I know, like, I definitely agree with that, but listen. So this, it really feels like I should be raising. I should be raising my TP here, But the thing is, this is what I've tested. Okay, this is the whole thing that I've tested. Is it more profitable to have TP up here, or is it more profitable to have at half an hour? Well, I found that 72% win rate down here, and up around this area, around 60. So I know that it is, at this point at least, it's very profitable taking profits at this FTA that we're about to hit right now. So
can I ask a question?
It depends.
No, I don't want to ask anymore.
No, go ahead.
But we're about what is that anyway? It's New Zealand dollar yen, yeah. The least correlated pair to on the daily. I just looked that up to euro dollar, by the way.
Nice.
Which one?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna leave this trade on during news. Yeah, I've already. Let's have a look. It's only like half a percent risk. I'm gonna probably put it up a little bit more under just this low. It's 0.5% risk. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it on. No, what I wanted to say is, when obviously this strategy is working and you got a really high win rate, you obviously have those outliers where you make, you're in a really good position and price is pushing up, and obviously you probably get the gut feeling that it's probably got more power in it. The question is, are you going to allow yourself to push up in times like that, allow yourself to push the TP higher and trail stops, or are you just going to be just strict, that's all I'm going to do and all I'm going to take? That is the question.
Yeah, so for this month, I'm going to be very conservative with TP. I want to see if that 70% plus win rate can hold true throughout July as well. That would mean like that would just be insane. That would really be a very good example of that would basically show the same result as my backtesting, which is, if I'm going to be honest with you, that has never happened before. Like, I have never had the same results live as backtesting. But if it holds true, that's going to be the case, and which I don't think it's going to do. But if it's true, if that's the case, the next phase of testing will be. So currently, I'm testing 3 different systems parallel. I'm testing the half an hour profit, I'm testing 1 hour profit, and then I'm also testing just wherever the FTA is. That can be half an hour, 1 hour, or whatever. And then the next stage will be, like you said, look at the trades and see which of these trades are actual runners, and what makes them run higher, and is there anything that kind of separates them from the other trades. And what I've seen is, and I know I've been testing this before, not a lot of trades are running. That's the thing. Like very small percentage of trade, like
10 to 20%.
Yeah, like 20% of the trades will break the highs on like the daily highs and continue. So like that's an 80% failure rate. That's 80% chance of that not happening. So I don't think it's worth it. I really don't think it is.
Yeah, I feel like after listening to that Linda woman that I was speaking to you about, Linda Bradford, and hearing about all that data collection that she was doing, and then going in and doing some of my own data collection, man, I'm super excited just to go in and just start doing tons more, because some of the things that you see by just tracking that stuff is just absolutely insane.
What interview was that? Was that with the trade?
No, I didn't look at it. So she has a book, Street Smarts. That's one of her books, and then she's got another book, something about sardine trading. I don't know where she got that name from, but she's got a lot of webinars as well where she talks about her data collection for the year, statistics, and all of those different things. And one of the things that stuck out for me is obviously not, and these are the things I know anyway, but the things that you use probably aren't going to work for me. Is to always obviously go and, because I've been a one-trick pony for a lot of times. I've got the same techniques really for the same trade. The EMAs, back to revert to the mean type of trade, and then maybe a momentum trade. But having more statistics and more context is actually made me some really good profits today, actually, just from some of those basic things, and something that I wouldn't have made money on with my own. I would have made money on the strategy, but I would have made a lot less because I would have only gone to a certain amount of take profit, and I wouldn't gone for the bit extra because of the statistics that I gathered the other day. So don't know, man, really interesting stuff.
Statistics gathering is the key to successful trading. I mean, I have not, like, how many highly successful traders are going to tell you that, I don't journal, I don't really know what the statistics of this is, I'm just going to go like that. That doesn't really happen. I think the longer you trade, the more interested you will get in the details of your trading. Like you get ideas, right? Like, what if I only buy on a Tuesday? Something weird like that, you get an idea and then you test it and like, wait a minute, there's an edge in here, right? And I feel like I feel like that's what you're experiencing right now. You understand the power of just small, asking these questions,
Yeah, just being there curious. But I want to ask Dirk, when you in the firms that you use, how did you go about getting all the statistics for the modeling and stuff like that? Did you have particular models that you would kind of like quantify and then use those in your trading? Or like, how did it work for the firms?
You have, well, the hedge type companies, family offices I worked for as a trader, we were specializing, like myself, on options, mainly Forex options. There you don't actually do what we are doing here. You're not really looking for patterns like, is it going higher or lower, because you're on the sell side of options. So actually you don't want the market to move at all. Because that would be the most beneficial for you, because you can rake in the premium as well. So it's more of analyzing your risk always. What do I mean by this? You analyze like correlations, the position I've built up right now, my option portfolio, where does it have the most exposure? It's usually the US dollar, it's usually the Japanese yen, Swiss franc, or British pound. Mm-hmm. And then you decide where you need to macro hedge. What do I need to do now to reduce my risk by 50%? What does that mean on the outcome? So it's more of not really a quantitative approach. It's like, analyzing large numbers and selecting the best probable outcome from this without actually making an assumption where the market is moving.
When you go about making those kind of strategies or figuring all of that out, how did you go about, getting all the data and stuff like that? And then, figuring, back testing, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's back testing, and it's especially looking at volatility when it comes to options. Especially when you're selling options, you want to have a look at the historic volatility, and then you can kind of compare where are we right now with a so-called implied volatility in context to where it was historically. Where's the historic mean average? Oh, I see right now in euro dollar we are, let's say, below the historic volatility of the last 3, 5, 10 years. And what does that mean then? Then I'm not going to sell options very much or choose different option strategies, because as a seller of options, I'm highly dependent on selling options with a high volatility, because it's going to have more risk for me for sure, but it's also giving me more premium to rake in. Mm-hmm. So it's more like this. It's not so much actually looking at the charts, but if we talk about trading strategies like we are doing here, from my opinion, especially when it comes, for example, to cryptocurrencies, there's only so much data you can backtest because it becomes very, very complex very quickly, I think, for the individual. Not only to backtest a strategy itself, but to also look, for example, at stuff like how's my strategy performing Mondays to Fridays? Is there a difference to the weekend? Is there a difference throughout the days? How is it performing during the Asian session? How is it performing when we have an overlap of Asian and European session, and later on US session and European session? So that is quite complicated, in my opinion. Probably that would be the next step for you, actually, Jonathan, because I know you are super into data collection. But for that, you need to be kind of a data scientist. It becomes very quickly very, very complex. So I try, when it comes to swing trading, when it comes to scalping, which is anyway just a very low percentage of what I'm doing in terms of trading. I should go through the trouble of analyzing that more, but I don't do it. Maybe that is also something that comes with experience. But I just like to try things then, if they work out.
I'm seriously
and
like
it's just on the way, so to say, on the fly.
There is a way to do the data collection and analysis. It's of course not as extensive as perhaps what they will be doing at the firms, but as an individual, you can, if you have a clear view of the questions you want to be asking, like what you mentioned, Dirk, what is the effect of different time of the day or different sessions, overlap or not, a weekend or not, days of the week. You can have, let's say, this is something for free on MyFX, for example, and you can have that on many trading journaling apps as well. You can tag, so identify every trade you take, and that's even without doing backtesting, but on forward testing, at each trade you take, either at the moment or at the end of the day, you can tag, okay, is this, if it is a Monday, of course, you will have a Monday tag. And if it is, overlap between New York and London, you'll put that tag on. And if you have a clear, like a workflow of the things you want to be measuring, you can use that with a couple of minutes at the end of the day, tag each trade you take, and that depends how many trades you take, of course. And once you do that, of course, you have to do that every day consistently. And then at the end of some period, let's say 3 months, you can look back and measure those without, it costing you downtime that you have to do 2-3 days of analyzing and doing statistical work. You do a little bit every day, and it's for free, and it is time consuming if you add up all those 3 or 5 minutes every day, but it is doable in terms of as an individual we don't have a research assistant doing this for us.
This is very interesting. Good idea, Victor. Of course, I think to really get something useful out of this, you also need a pure mechanical system, right? Which is something at least on the lower time frames, I do not have. I have like a system
discretionary.
Where it's like, let's say, like 80% mechanical, the last 20% are discretional. Actually, there was an example today on Eurodollar where when I solely would do it in a mechanical way, I would eventually have ended a short trade. I didn't do that because of the news coming up there. And because me knowing, okay, this is going to affect the markets, this is going to affect the market players in taking the positions, especially the big ones. But nonetheless, I agree that if you do that and collect that over 1,000 trades or something like this, it also gives you information about yourself. Like what time of a day, what time of a week are you at your best when it comes to trading? And maybe you find out something like, oh, what is this? Like daily at like 1:30 p.m. I totally suck and I lose money. Well, maybe that's because I had a big lunch, and I'm still digesting, and my body needs the blood in the guts and not in the brain or something like that.
I mean, can I just quickly update
that's
you guys
actually super important, by the way.
I just want to jump in and update you guys on the positions. I've closed everything here, and I've been a little bit quiet here in the background because there's been a lot of positions to manage, but it's been quite successful. So let me show you here. So EU, I closed that one around this area right here when it hit that low time frame area. We also have Powell speaking in about 15 minutes, and I think when I can get an exit. Let me show you. So EU closed that one here. So that's the first winner. Before that we had GBP CAD, and then I closed silver right before this moved down. Like when we hit that area, like literally right before this dump, I closed silver, and then I exited NCD JPY like right below TP, and I managed to get out of NCD CHF for a very small loss here, almost break even. So yeah, five trades this week, 4 winners and 1 small loser. I think I'm very happy with that.
Yes, for sure.
So now, like, I can finally relax because I've been walking around here at home today, like, I should close it, and I'm like, yeah.
Do you know, it is funny that there's a meme. There was a meme going around, like whenever you're having a really stressful like day, and then you go back and your like wife or somebody's just talking about like taking the kids out to nursery, or I don't know, something just like trivial or not important. And I can think of that kind of in trading as well, when you're in like a really bad position, nobody really knows about it but you, and then suddenly your girlfriend comes out and she's like, let's go to the beach, but like go on a date and do this, and you're like, let's go shopping, and I'm like, oh my god,
but she knows though, like she can look at me and she's like, she looks at me like she's like,
she just knows
it's a bad trade. I'm like, yep, it's a bad trade. She's like, well, it is what it is,
I feel you. Happy,
and
what do you want to eat tomorrow? I don't care right now.
Yeah, and then some days she's like, I remember she sent me, some days she's like, well, I want this. I'm like, well, but can't you just make a good trade? I'm like, what do you mean can't you just make a good trade? What does that even mean? Like, can't you just make a good trade? I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll make a good trade. Be right back.
Yeah, those are anecdotes are very I can relate to them very much. So
man, what an amazing day. I am going to blow it all in a couple of days. Like, I can feel myself being so confident.
Don't say that.
No, but tomorrow,
even put that in your mind. Don't even talk about that. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
even
don't
talking
say
about
that.
it. Don't even put it in your
I
mind.
think it's important to talk about. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm not going to trade. That's like, because I've seen every time I make lots of money in the beginning of the week, and then it's like,
I'm not going to trade on the 40K celebration.
Oh, I'm going to be scalping. Way. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be scalping.
There you go.
I'm probably going to be scalping on an evaluation account, like some small evaluation account that it's not real money.
Well, he needs to be out tomorrow anyway to buy something nice for his girlfriend, as we just heard.
Yeah, hopefully she's not watching the live. She does watch some of the lives. Hopefully not this one.
We are going to hold him responsible. Don't worry, Godatan's girlfriend.
I did just buy her this paddle thing.
Paddle thing? Show us the paddle.
Paddle boarding.
The paddle board? That sounds board. Like...
You don't know what that is? You stand on it and it paddles.
Oh,
come on! You bought that for yourself, not for your girlfriend.
Yeah,
I know. You know
no, I did. But listen, of course, I bought one for myself. I bought the expensive big one for me, and then she gets the less expensive one. But the thing is, the postal whatever we call them is they sent it to the wrong person, so we only got hers. I'm like, where's mine? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we sent it to the wrong person at the other side of the country. We can't deliver. I'm sorry. Like, what?
But maybe you can contact that person, and then that person can peddle it down to you.
Ah, it's a good one.
That'd be pretty interesting.
So funny guy, Dirk. Yeah. But yeah, so the plan is not to trade tomorrow. I think that's the best course of action, because like you guys know, you've been listening to me for many weeks now, telling you all about how, the positive emotions is what's more dangerous to me. Like I kind of thrive on, I was gonna say I thrive on negativity, but I really do not do that. What I mean is I thrive on the when things get tough and I have to like struggle. I do think I perform best under pressure when I'm like in a drawdown. I think that's when I start trading the best, and then when everything's going well, that's when I lose focus.
When you're in a underdog position.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's when I like the idea of being the underdog, I guess, like having to really struggle,
Yeah.
Which I think that's life in general. We don't want to be too comfortable. When we get too like being comfortable is like the enemy of any type of progress. We want to. Life
So
should be
easy,
tough.
No, but it's so easy just to fall in, just be comfortable. Like who doesn't want to come home from a hard day of trading and get your food cooked and your belly rubbed by your girlfriend, your feet rubbed and your back scratced? It's just it's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's not how it happens for me, but there you go. But it's probably nice.
Well, I do have like I work from home, and like every time I go upstairs, I got lunch ready, and then after the live stream, I got dinner ready. So it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. And now she got a paddle boat, so she's gonna make me she's gonna make me dinner. It's gonna be nice.
Guys, I think we need to invite some female traders as well. We have too much testosterone flying around here, really.
We are working on it. We're working on it.
Well, we're working on it. There's well, it's not like there's a line of female trader that wants to get into the trading room. It's the industry is not full of females, which it's a shame, because I do really think that female traders like
Good traders
can be very good traders. Like the female traders that I've seen is actually very, very good traders, because they think way differently. Like men, we are usually more risk averse, right, than women. So like that they're more, I feel like they are probably better traders than us, which is weird. Like, why aren't there many female traders though? Maybe it's because it's risky. I don't know, something.
Well, the trader that I want to bring on, I was shocked. Her knowledge was straight away. You ask a question, and then the knowledge is just really on a high level, and she risks a good amount of size as well. So it's going to be interesting to bring her on and appeal to everyone, because apparently we think we're funny, but most people don't. We're not.
I know I'm not funny, so
Who said who
I
have-
am
who
German.
said-
I am very
Every
funny.
time I say this, I'm referring to your girlfriend. Is basically your partner basically said that we think we're funny, but we're not funny, and it's probably true, but that's what makes it funny,
Well, she thinks I'm funny though. Like, none of you are funny, obviously, but she
And
thinks
that's
I'm
a
funny.
joke, that's a joke in itself. That one.
Yeah, maybe it is. She's like, you're not funny, but I am. Of course you are. Like, of course you're funny, but no one else,
Yeah, you're very funny.
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. Rubbing my belly, like, yeah, you're funny. You're funny.
Somebody's gonna put that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah,
not.
we Germans are very well known worldwide for our really great sense of humor.
Really?
Dun,
Dun, dun,
dun. Yeah, my grandma has got the most dry sense of humor in the world. So I don't know. You speak to her and she's just hard German woman.
Wait, your grandma's German?
Yeah. All my dad's side of the family is German.
So do you speak German?
Oh no, Dirk. I'm sorry, man.
Too
It's
bad.
something maybe one day. I'm actually going to be there in September. If you're around, Dirk, I'm going to be in
Hey,
Berlin.
great. Yeah, come.
Yeah,
Definitely should go for a drink.
yeah. Let's get a beer. Whoop whoop.
One or 10
Yeah,
beer.
Oh god, there you go.
Ooh,
That's how it
ten.
starts, isn't it? One beer. Like, who actually goes for one beer? Nobody, huh?
No.
Doesn't
I
work.
don't think I've ever done that. Like, if I go for one beer, that's gonna be a really bad beer. Like, I'm just getting out of there quickly.
Either a very bad one or a very large one. Yeah? Like a 5
Oh, yeah.
liter glass of beer.
Okay, so I feel like we're deviating from what we're actually
Yeah.
doing here. This is a trading show. We're a live trading show here, Forex, not whatever we're doing now. What we're doing right now is I see that I closed all my positions too early, but that's okay though, because like I made a good amount of money. Like they're literally like most of them winners, but I could have made much more by holding them. But I think that's always the case, right? It's like that's something I feel like I always say, like it could have been made more if I just held it. But yeah, you know, like that's I have to. That's something I have to figure out with when I'm doing my trade journaling. This.
Sometimes you can. Sometimes price moves keeps on going in your favor, but that's not necessarily a bad thing that you closed in advance. I think
Yeah.
The question to ask is, was my exit optimal? It doesn't have to be perfect. Was it optimal? Because eventually the price, at least in my case, eventually it will go higher, but it will go through a lot of swings, which I typically don't want to be in. So I prefer having a clean move up, get out of it, and perhaps there it may consolidate and retrace 30, 40, 50% of the trade. I don't want to be in there. And then continue, but that's fine because I got the move, the clean move, and it is also a trade-off. What is the price you pay for holding that trade? And the price sometimes is headaches or stress, and that's something you need to optimize your holding time for too, right? If it's too stressful and you're getting 30% more, but you're twice as stressed about your trades, maybe that earlier FTA exit with half the stress, and you're getting 80% of the move is the best thing to do.
Especially if you have a time running against you, like today, for example, like, oh, in 20 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes, in 3 minutes, we have Jerome Paul going to say something which potentially could overthrow everything again and change the whole setting. That makes it extra stressful. And I always say, if you're able to catch like 50, 60, 70% of a trade, of a trend you're trading, that's awesome. That's better than most
very good
already.
Yeah.
I think that comes with maturity as well as a trader, because I remember early on I was always trying to get the top, always trying to push the top, and
I think everybody that begins trading tries to do that.
And that's not where get in, get out, everything is rented. Just
it's much better to
the big ones, the big opportunities, but obviously they're quite rare.
Yeah, it's much better to be hitting singles frequently than swinging for that home run all the time and missing out on and striking out a lot.
Yeah, it's the same conversation we had actually earlier in Traderlicious. It was the fact that you can have a really good run where you're risking a lot, you make a lot of money, but because you're risking a lot, and maybe if the conditions just change a little bit, you haven't got that time to find out where it's not working, and you end up blowing all the money that you've made. Instead, when you're just risking, you're getting in, you're getting out, you're being really calm, you're not pushing anything, and then if anything happens, any kind of change in conditions, you're not risking enough and not trying to go for massive profits that you can actually save yourself and save a lot of the profits in your account, because it happens over and over and over again. What is the best international page to see the news? I use FX calendar, FX book calendar. It's fantastic. I like it better than
Forex Factory.
Forex Factory. I'm a person of colors. I like seeing colors, and when I open a book, I don't read. I just look at the pictures. So that's me.
The daily FX economic calendar is good, but it's important to remember that there are some differences between the two calendars. Sometimes a major news event might be marked as medium on daily FX, and in the red folder on Forex Factory. Same thing with the difference between Forex Factory and TradingView. So yesterday we had a major news event on Forex Factory, a red folder news event, but not in TradingView. So I think it's important to realize that the risk department of the 5ers are looking at the Forex Factory news calendar and categorizing major news events with the red folders on Forex Factory. So I do recommend that always, whichever favorite that you have, always check Forex Factory, because that's the one that if you're trading a prop account with the 5ers, that's the one you should be following in terms of red folder events, and not be too focused on TradingView or FX Daily.
Yep.
Well, I use Forex Factory just to know which ones I really need to be looking for, because that's the one that the rules are based on. But I use MyFX to double check that the first one is complete, because there are at MyFX a couple of news that will be on MyFX book, but not on Forex Factory. And they, not always, but sometimes they do move the mark, and it's not on Forex Factory. So
one that I can say just do not use, I tell you what, is the one on TradingView. It is pants. I'm sorry, it is really rubbish.
Yeah. And it's very slow.
Which one? Did you say
super
TradingView?
slow? And TradingView, yeah, it's really it's not good.
It's new though. I think they're hopefully they'll make it better, because it's new. But I think it looks good, and it's nice to have it in the actual platform. But yeah, it's they launched it a couple of months ago, so hopefully they're gonna improve it.
Yeah. Does anybody use a Squawk here? No, Dirk, you've never used the Squawk? He's just like a little bit of a news notification service that just...
you have like a box on your table, and then somebody screams at you, NFP higher than expected.
Yeah.
We used to have that once when I was working in a family office, and it, like, on more than one occasion, it made me jump out of my chair, because I was startled like crazy. Because my colleagues always like to play the prank on me that they turned my box when I was on the toilet. They turned my box on maximum loudness, volume.
There is a website called Financial Juice, which is very good. It's the one I always have a tab open with Financial Juice. It shows me. It basically shows all the major news events. Got a economic news calendar as well. It's my main go-to place.
What is it called? Financial Juice?
Financialjuice.com. I'm gonna link it in the chat. We are not affiliated with them in any way, but they have a what is it called? Is it Squawk? Okay, yeah. So they do have one called Take Strike. You have to pay for it though, and I don't. They have a
FX Pro. Sorry, FX Pro. If you open up an account with FX Pro, you get a free Squawk. You don't have to.
Oh yeah,
put any money. Yeah, you don't have to put any money. You just open an account with them, and they give you a free Squawk.
Yeah, then you're going to hack me and turn it on max volume. I know that already.
You're traumatized.
I am, in many ways.
There was
kind of nice, actually, this Financial Juice thing.
Yeah, it's really good. It gives you a good overview of what's going on. It has like need to know market risk at the very top, where it shows you the most important things that's going on right now, and it has a economic news calendar as well.
The speech, Powell speaking, supposedly the time has arrived. I'm not sure if he's speaking right now, but the market hasn't really.
We got jobs out
yet.
Soon. Maybe he's waiting for the jobs report.
We'll see if I can find. So with Financial Juice, you usually have a link to the speeches as well. So if you see at 15:30, you have a YouTube link, so you can click that one, and then you'll get a. So right now, Lagarde is speaking. So this is the ECB forum on central banking, and there you have Lagarde speaking. She's the chairman of the, not the chairman,
ECB.
but some ECB, the chief or whatever. So they're both speaking. She's speaking now, and then Powell is looks like he's about to say something, but she just keeps on talking. So I guess at some point we'll see some type of reaction. We have we gotta fix your mic, Alex. Gotta fix your mic.
I've turned it right down. I don't know if you can even hear me now.
I can hear you quite a lot.
Loud and clear. Yeah.
Very loud.
Yeah. Loudly.
All right, so I made.
Exactly.
I'm looking at the. At the results of today. I made 1.5 hour, which is less than I expected, but that's what you get when you exit earlier than what you're supposed to.
Still good. You said 4 out of 5 in the positive.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Nice.
So that's
Congrats.
That's about what you said, 1.5. That's a little bit more than 1/3 of the 1/3 of the risk you took combined
that's
on the
right.
5 trades. So that's good. I think that's a nice expectancy, a solid expectancy, especially if you consider your. Of course, it's a small number, but I mean 1/3 of the total risk is not bad at all.
Yeah, but I think I missed out on like one hour or even more with exiting early. But it is what it is. It's still good. What sucks though is the problem here is like, I need one loser, like one and a half loser to give it back.
Yeah, but then again, if everything goes well, that is only a problem when you are at the beginning of a sequence, because you don't have enough buffer yet. But once you are, let's say after a week, 2 weeks, and of course one loss will take a big chunk of your profits, but you already have enough, buffer built in, that it doesn't bother you as much. You actually should be expecting it every so often, according to your data. So you should, brace for impact before it happens.
Yeah.
And if that happens, it will not affect you as much, because you're expecting it at some point. You're going to be having one loss, every 10 trades and or something like that, and you're expecting it, so it doesn't affect you that much.
I can show you. I have an equity graph here with.
By the way, I just listened a little bit to Powell, and he's basically saying what he's been saying for the past months now. We still need more confidence in order to lower interest rates. Inflation still sticky, blah blah blah. Job market strong. We want more data.
Yeah. That's got to be a hard job, huh? Doing that job.
Imagine like if you sneeze in the wrong way. There's millions and billions of US dollar being moved because of that. Lost, won, whatever. Crazy. So I don't want to
wouldn't you guys be a little bit interested in like making some friends and like having
exactly
like these secret messages? Like if I blink twice, that means buy. If I blink twice with the left eye, that means sell. Something like that, right? And like
or just say straight buy Bitcoin. Just imagine if Powell just like,
oh god,
the Fed is actually now buying Bitcoin, guys. So to the moon, just straight like that.
We are now using all the money that is printed to buy Bitcoin.
That would be amazing.
I think he will be actually liable for a statement like that, wouldn't he?
No, do you think?
No, I think he would be fine. I think he would be protected by the crypto bros.
Yeah, right.
But the market is moving nicely after the last couple of minutes. It's been breaking out of that little consolidation of the 1 minute we had before. And I suppose it is because of that speech that came out. There's nothing new, supposedly. As according to Dirk, right? There's nothing new. It's the same indication or same signal as before. And that maybe is what the market was waiting, because it seems to be they are, they made up their mind, they want to go higher on EU.
Oh God, what's this
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I wanted to show you this. I have
I think
this-
Dirk's froze. Yep.
okay, yeah,
Lost.
he's gone.
There is a there was a question about the weekly target for GU. I think that's interesting. We can do that after your very interesting graph. This is your equity curve.
Yeah, so this is in R, since I started with the with
Nice.
this one. So what we have here is I actually started with the drawdown. So as you can see here, I started with I got to 1.5 R and then down to 1 point something. But let's say 1.5. Okay, so let's just, for the sake of this, let's just 1.5. So 1.5 plus to 1.5 minus means 3R. So it's a 3R. And doing all the back testing, I saw that the max drawdown was 3R. So it looks like here I started with the drawdown and I'm now out of that drawdown, and I should be seeing an uptrend starting here, because I didn't have a lot of drawdowns in the testing. I had pretty big sample size, and I only had 2 drawdowns with that approach. So if everything is according to the backtesting data, I should start a slow uptrend here.
Well, I like the. Have you tried putting in EMAs on your equity graph? Equity curve?
Yeah, but this is only 20 trades.
No, I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke about technical analysis about your equity curve.
Yeah. Well, I do actually have moving averages on
Quasimodo right there.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
watch out for the retrace.
Definitely selling. Everybody sell the equity curve of Jonathan.
Anyway, EU would have hit on TP, NCD JPY as well. NCD CHF could have exited this as entry, and then silver is absolutely shooting up right here, and GBP CAD as well. Bitcoin looking pretty good. We're definitely seeing. I mean, GU, yeah, insane move.
I think you exited correctly in my view, because there was a moment of heightened risk, which was the beginning of that speech, which may be a non-event, which happens a lot, but sometimes it changes everything. And it doesn't. A lot of the time, it's not worth it, because after the news, if it's something, it's not going to move a little. It's going to move a lot. And you don't want to be in that position. So I think I would do the same. Right after that peak in risk, I would want to either take it off or lower my risk. And that's what you did. So I think it's a great move. It was a great move.
Hey, do you know what? I do hate it though. Sometimes you get the feeling where you do take off risk or you do close, because I did have another position on Euro on a different account and I closed it fully. And the price is just smashing up. My target is the high of Monday.
Yesterday?
So yeah, the high of Monday yesterday. That's the target.
Yeah.
We get a request.
I gotta get used to those feelings, you know. Of just letting go.
I think. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to focus on, like, did I make money? You know, if you made money, then that's all right. You know, if you followed the plan, you took profit, you made money, you had it set up and it activated. I mean, that's fine. Okay, so GBP AUD, I'm actually looking for longs on this one. This will be sort of a swing long, but we have a weekly range here, and we're currently trading at around the lows of this weekly range. This is on the daily. I'm seeing a pretty good reaction here, where we have a low time frame. We have a level here where we're trying to get above, and this will be my entry area, the green box right there. I first want this daily candle to close above, and that will signal strength to me, and it will also be like a break here. It's not very pretty on the 4 hour though, but on the daily, what I'm looking at is a move. I'm looking for a move up here to maybe
Dirk's back.
and we have Dirk is back. Let's see if I can get that set up. Okay. Welcome back, Dirk.
Thank you.
Your connection seems a little bit off.
Yeah, I have a bit difficulties with a Wi-Fi connection in this apartment here.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, so that's this is what I'm looking at on PVP AUD. I would like to enter somewhere around this area. I would like to have my TP up here and then your stop loss around this area. So slightly up below 1 hour. Actually, let me see what that TP looks like on the lower time frames. Yeah, I quite like that. But then again, it's very messy on the 4 hours. So actually, I would probably wait for price to develop more here. I would probably look for something like this, you know, before taking the trade. Because that we obviously have that, you know, that downtrend. It kind of goes like this. That's the downtrend. I would like to see a break above these highs and then form a higher low before going long. And that could still be the same type of trade. You'd be getting a very wide stop loss on this, but still decent amount of risk to reward. Normally, I would probably put my stop loss here and then TP, up in these areas. But again, with testing this, I know that exiting around this area is going to be much more profitable long term.
I agree. I would put my TP on the that swing high exactly where you have it on the first move up, because indeed that's the beginning on the H4. If you look to the left, I see a cluster of structures. There is a outside bar on the H4 that is significant, and on top of that, there's that big move that left that order block that's also significant. So it's logical to expect that there's going to be some kind of selling pressure coming in when price gets back to that same high. Maybe it'll break it, and who knows, maybe fake out a breakout, like make a faking move of a breakout, and then come back before it continues the actual move higher, which it seems to be. Well, we don't know that yet. It's still in market structure. It's still making lower highs. But if it breaks that swing, I don't have a lot of structures, a lot of analysis on that pair. But if what I see is this area will be probably will be enough for price to bounce off at, right? Because it hasn't proved anything yet. It hasn't broken any. It hasn't made a higher high yet on the lower on the H4. So the first would be break the current trend, downtrend, and show that it wants to go, but it can go, of course, once without coming back. But after showing its point that it wants to break structure and perhaps change direction, typically it'll go down and then continue its move higher. So I agree completely with your analysis. I would put my TP close to that high, because I think starting from that point anywhere here, it's probably going to have some heavy selling coming in to push price to keep it within that market structure, right? I like that. I like that analysis you did.
Guys, I
There's
have a
also
I got a probably run in 5 minutes. I got a interview with a funded trader coming up in about 10 minutes. I'm probably gonna run in 5 minutes, if it's okay for you guys to end the live stream without me.
No. Just to answer the question here of Breeze of how long I've been trading. So I've been in the markets. This is my year number 26 now. But I've not been doing what we are doing here for the majority of the time. as I said earlier, I'm more of an options trader. I'm especially when it comes to positioning, more of a long-term trader. So this whole swing trading and especially scalping stuff is quite new to me as well. So I'm learning as much as you viewers out there by attending these streams and listening to what the other three gentlemen have to say here.
That's a long time.
It is far too long. And it costs a lot of hair.
I have someone asking about your EMA strategy confirmation something.
He's writing a caps. I saw him asking a couple of times. So if I need to bring up my trading view first again, because I had to reboot everything here. So bear with me for a minute.
EU is not stopping. EU is not stopping. Gosh, when is the news?
Big move.
The top of the hour, then the NF, not the NFP, the job roles are going to come out.
In 5 minutes, no, at 4.
Alex, can you ask Dirk? You could ask him yourself, man. He's doing it. You know? Jonathan, ask Victor if he.
No, he really wants Dirk to show this because he's been asking all like in many different ways.
And he shall get his answer, of course. Hold on, just bear with me for.
I like that. Minute. I like that number. It's a nice number. I can understand why you'd go for that, but I do feel like it will push higher.
Let's see. Now I just need to share my screen. Oh, got old man trying to figure out techniques.
Got a lot of momentum. Please, can someone tell me, in your humble opinion, where is gold going today?
2,360.
There you go.
Yep, that's
there
it.
you go.
There you go.
Okay, maybe
Dirk,
very
I'm
quickly
before on your screen.
Yeah. So I saw you wrote something. Sorry that I don't pronounce your name. I probably would pronounce it in the wrong way. You wrote something about the 200 EMA and 100 EMA. What I'm using here is something that I actually copied from Alex. It's the 200 EMA on the 1 minute chart with the 50 minutes EMA and 21 minutes EMA. And what I like to do, if I find the time of the day, is I like to wait until we really have something like we actually saw today on Euro-Dollar, a nice breakout. How is a nice breakout defined? That is the price moving over the 200 minutes EMA. And then you have the 51 and the 21 EMA catching up eventually without doing, like something like this and kind of not deciding where they want to go. So everything needs to point into one direction. That is obviously, if you want to trade with a trend. And what I'm looking for usually, if I want to trade with a trend, that is the first pullback, either here, if I want to be more aggressive, to the 21 EMA, or if you want to be a little bit more conservative, to the 50 EMA, or somewhere in between here, because when you really have an established trend, what you usually see, not usually, what you'll often see, but not always, of course, is that price will test these waters here and then continue higher. And this is exactly what we were seeing today in Euro-Dollar. And probably this is something you also were trading today, Alex. Am I right? Or am I right?
Say that again, sorry.
Guys, sorry, before you continue that, I need to prepare some stuff before the interview, so I'm gonna have to leave you guys. And we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow for the 40K celebration.
Take care.
Right, take care, guys. I'm gonna make sure I'm not ending the live.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yesterday,
no, don't worry. I explained because this is something I really learned from you. I must say, like if you see a nice trend establishing, the pullbacks to the 21-minute EMA or 50-minute EMA usually are great areas to get into the trend. Not always, but sometimes are. And I said, because I saw you a Euro-Dollar long, that's why I assumed maybe these are areas where you added to your position or re-entered your position or open a new position in EU as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely is a position. I would definitely go for that. It's beautiful as well. You've got another one a little bit up before that area where you were just pointing there. That's fantastic. You got a nice fib area as well.
See, you had it
super-
working out here. You had it working out here. Now, what you need to look for, in my opinion, always is that eventually this trend is going to exhaust itself a little bit. So you usually see like a strong thing in the beginning, and when it kind of starts becoming flatter. Might actually be the case here. We don't know yet. You know, it could also be that we bounce again here and then continue higher. That's the most probable scenario, in my opinion. But if you see like things flattening out a little bit, then usually the time will come that it goes down here to the 200 minutes EMA again and retests it. Basically resets it, returns to the mean. I think you call that always, Alex.
Yeah. Super easy way to trade. And
it looks very easy here, of course, you know, but really, let me say, it of course doesn't always work like this. You can also see patterns like where it immediately goes breaks those 21 and 50 EMAs and goes back to the 200 EMA. This is of course possible. That's why you always need your stop loss like a little bit, if it's a long position, a little bit below the 200 EMA, in my opinion.
Yeah, what I like to add to this kind of way of trading is a little bit of market structure. If you use a little bit of market structure and you can see it's breaking one of the EMAs, and then my target will be the next EMA. Let's say I'm in a long and I want to go short and I want to target the 200 EMA. First, I would wait for a little bit of break on market structure, then maybe a retrace onto a fib, and that's where I'll get into the position. And once it breaks normally an EMA, it does retrace before it continues to go into the next EMA in its direction or in its so
I like to use this fear and greed indicator for it. So whenever you have those green bars over coming over your candlesticks, it's an indication that the market, you know, is exhausting the trend a little bit. You see usually after those you get a pullback to the moving averages here, as we also had in this case here, and we are forming right now one again. So if we now would somewhere close below the 50 moving average, so the red line, that would be a strong indication for me that before continuing the trend, that we go first back to the 200 minutes EMA. You could also use this as a contrarian strategy, but if you're a beginner, I would stick with trend following, using this strategy to find trend following entries, so entries with a trend. It's really, really much easier. I know a lot of people try the contrarian approach first, and it's more difficult because if a trend really kicks off, you know, you're going to have a hard time with your positioning.
Yeah. If you're trying to catch, you know, revert to the mean type of trades, then something you could add is just an oscillator that just shows you divergence in price and divergence in what's going on, and then it can just add another layer of confluence. Obviously, don't just use it naked on its own. Obviously, add that towards your market structure and the breaks of the EMAs, and then you've come with like an overall model of something, a way of getting in and out of trades and identifying when to trade.
It's a lot about practice, in my opinion. And like I said, you know, it's for me rather new. I've been using this on and off now for a couple of months, and as you can see, I'm still developing it, adding things to it. I have my RSI hooks indicator now added to it to kind of find zones of divergence, of confluence, and so on and so forth, to really kind of be picky about the signals.
Yeah. You like it though, don't you? As soon as you're starting to see those patterns, and they're quite obvious as well sometimes. And
they are obvious. They are obvious. For me, it's just now a matter of learning.
Oh, look at that! You guys, there's a big reaction on GU. Sorry.
Oh, well,
put your screen.
Something just happened there.
Yeah, put your. Oh, that was a lot.
There's that big candle. That's the news, of course.
Yes, that's the news.
And the jolt.
The jolt, yeah.
It didn't do anything really. You get that. So I've got an oscillator on here, and the oscillator is just making a higher low, and price is making a higher low. So to be honest, I reckon there might be momentum to continue up.
Job openings much better than expected. So this is not what we like to see for stocks and crypto moving higher, actually, and for interest rate cuts.
Well, wait, let's have a look at what crypto's doing. Please start retracing, crypto gods. Ugh,
You still want to get into. You didn't get in at the bull market support bands again. I told you a million times.
Oh no! To be honest, do you know that was my big mistake? This is what I'm going to learn for this cycle, because last cycle I learned a little bit. This cycle, I'm learning a little bit as well. And one of them, just I didn't have any kind of exposure to the big BTC, the top B. I only just had, to altcoins, Solana, FTM, and all of those different things, and I missed out on some good trade opportunities, really.
Oh, there are still great opportunities. Real bull market, the blow-off thing kind of stuff is going to start end of October, early November.
Yeah, what's your outlook where we're at currently at, Dirk? Because I know we're in. I can't remember whether we're in a range just as disgusting as the range that we're currently in.
No, it's what we're seeing right now. Really, completely normal. We see that over and over again, and Bitcoin is such a great asset when it comes to cycles and patterns and repeating patterns. Especially, let me just quickly put that on. Which one is the correct one? I think this one. Yeah. So this is something I posted just the other day. Can you show my screen quickly, Victor?
Let me.
Yes.
Thank you. What I showed the other screen. This is why I like to look at these bull market support bands. So that's the weekly 20 weeks simple moving average and exponential moving average of 21 weeks, the red and yellow line down here. And if you see Bitcoin trending, and the same is true for bear market, by the way, whenever it pulls back to those bull market support bands, that's basically a great area to buy. It's a 100% pattern so far. And not only this cycle, it's true for the other cycles as well. Of course, sometimes you overshoot it. Sometimes it ends a little bit over then and does the reverse, so makes the new local low again. And this is exactly what we are seeing right now. We are there right now. And if you look at the long-term chart of Bitcoin, like really from, let's say, 2011 on a logarithmic chart, it's the same patterns over and over again. You have between 190 and 300 days of slightly up move, little bit sideways move, choppy markets after the halving, and then really things start taking off. And that would be somewhere between late October 2024 and mid-February of 2025. And when I say market taking off, I'm talking prices of 100, 150, 200, 250,000 US dollars in Bitcoin. And so it's not too late to buy, by all means.
No, the rumors are starting to come out for a ETF on Solana coming.
Yeah, I read that too, and I thought about you actually when I read it.
I did. I was one of those guys that did take half of my overall position of Solana at the top, at the 143. I took half off, just because I wanted to protect myself just a little bit from the downside. Because when you're like 100% exposed and prices are coming down and Bitcoin is in a range, and I don't want to give back all my, I was in the mode as well. I didn't want to give back all the profits that I made. But if price starts moving back up, then I've got that there just to get up just a little bit higher. It's just,
which is totally okay, especially if you're on altcoins, in my opinion. And like for example, this graph, you can really see it's really the same thing over and over again. After the halving 2016, took us 1 year to break out of this green part of a regression channel. This is what I mean when I talk about like the real true bull market beginning. So this is all the prices we see between the green and the red channel, and this has not been happening yet. And so in after 2016 halving, 2016 300 days, after the halving 2020 was 220 days. That's why I say if history repeats itself, and I think it's going to repeat itself, we are talking about early November to February of 2024 when we are going to leave this green channel. And by that time, this green channel, the upper channel, is going to be around 100,000 US dollars. So even if you just want to trade that is like still a move of 38,000 US dollars from now until October or February, which is an insane return of investment. I know everybody new to crypto is always looking for the 10x, 100x, and so on, but come on, we're talking about like 50% return on investment within a couple of months. That's insane. Every hedge fund manager out there would kill for that.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit greedy when it comes to like returns in crypto, because we think that's normal. Whereas it's not normal. It's just not normal to have.
We're looking for that in crypto, and then we get scared when euro dollar is moving 50 pips up or down a day.
That's the thing. I was watching just the floating loss of just up and down on Phantom, where that was moving when Bitcoin was coming down from the top of its range, moved 30% in like a day and a half, and I was just like, this is kind of normal and it's horrible at the same time. But yeah, there you go. It's just crypto. It's just a weird.
Exactly. You're like,
weird.
Whatever,
Yeah, it's like, gosh. 30%.
But again, of course, guys, this is like my analysis. Yeah, I don't want to push anybody to invest in things they don't believe, but this is what we look for as traders and investors. We look for repeating patterns. This is exactly the same, maybe at a broader scale, of a more long-term scale than what Victor, what Alex, what Jonathan are doing on the swing trading and day trading time scales. You look for things that repeat itself. And if you find somebody, well, you put your money where your mouth is.
Dirk, how do you check?
Yeah,
what
for
website
sure.
do you check your the ETF inflows? So I was trying to find just a website that is just like easy to comprehend, and it's just like, seriously, it's like, I'll turn this off for a sec. There you go.
Here's one.
Tell me.
Farside.co.uk.
Okay,
BTC,
and then
ETF inflows.
then it just
I
shows
bet there are better ones as well. I haven't looked at it in a while, actually, honestly speaking, because there were more outflows on average recently. Of course, because all those new people coming into Bitcoin are getting scared now because it fell from 73 to 60. Oh my God, we're going to zero. All those Wall Street boys are not used to the volatility, to the hardening of a crypto cycle, what it does to your psyche.
Oh God, calluses your mind to gains. To gains and losses,
really.
just calluses. Yeah. But we're actually at 5 o'clock, guys, so we're gonna wrap it up. So first of all, thank you very much for Dirk for coming on and being an esteemed guest, always keeping us entertained and joining us here. We do love having you.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me again.
And we will be back tomorrow for a big celebration. Victor, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about what we're going to do tomorrow, who we've got coming on, and
we will have Rich, our good friend, the great trader, will be coming on, and we'll have another ICT trader. So please tune in for a great celebration. We'll be celebrating 40K subscribers. It's a milestone, and we're thrilled for the next 40Ks coming up.
Yep. We're going to do a big giveaway. Obviously, Rich is coming in, as Victor said. We got the OTE trader will be coming in as well, which is a funded trader with the 5ers. Jonathan did a trader interview with him, and he wanted to bring him on to talk. So we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Take care, and thank you very much for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Now make sure you like and subscribe, and most of all, go into the YouTube and check our other content that we provide here at the 5ers. We'll